for liftoff.
Top, H0 moins 1 minute.
Well, all that's left to explain is the ignition sequence. Remember we said how power was passing from the ground to the launcher to make her autonomous. Well, this phase, the ignition phase, is already carried out by the onboard computer. Here's what to watch for. It begins when those cryogenic arms, the yellow bars, will pull back at -5 seconds when the DDO says 5. At 0, he will call out allumage, which is ignition, and the main engine will light, but we don't lift off quite yet. Count to 7. For 7 seconds, the computers are checking the performance in the main engine while it's burning on the pad. They'll do it twice to confirm it, and then give the order, follows OK, for ignition of the boosters. Final countdown.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le décompte final. Dix, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, unité, top, allumage Vulcain. Allumage EAP, décollage.
Beautiful pictures again of Ariane coming roaring off the pad, leaving a trail of gold. I think we've lost her in the clouds. There she is. Did you see the cryo arms open at -5? Did you count to 7?
Tous les paramètres sont nominaux.
Everything is on board is okay, says the DDO. At 18:36 local time and right on time, Ariane began her mission, lifting off from the ground here in French Guiana, beginning her first mission of the year, rising into the clear skies over French Guiana, weighing 775 tons right now. She's burning 5 tons of fuel per second, if you can believe that, 2.5 tons in each booster, and the core stage burning an additional 300 kilograms of fuel per second. She is following the program in the onboard computer, which is located in the vehicle equipment bay below the satellites, which gives all the orders, including stage separation. We'll soon begin to see those. We're in the first of 4 flight phases for Ariane. The first 3 are powered. The last is not. We'll describe each in turn so you can follow Ariane as she heads east across the Atlantic to separate the passengers over the east coast of Africa and over the Indian Ocean. Flight phases are right now, the main engine and the 2 boosters are burning. Boosters will burn for another 20 seconds roughly. Then the main engine will burn alone for about 9 minutes. Then the upper stage will burn alone for about 16 minutes. And the final flight phase, not powered, we'll get back to that when it happens. Basically, we're using the simple solid propulsion in the boosters to get off the ground, away from the pull of the Earth, and the more complex liquid propulsion, cryogenics, to obtain speed and performance. We're waiting for confirmation of the booster separation.
Séparation des étages d'accélération à poudre.
There it is. The TDO has just called out. You can see the 2 boosters falling away, leaving their vapor trail. In the middle is the core stage, Ariane, continuing to burn. Nice shots.
Tous les paramètres à bord sont nominaux.
The boosters will fall 500 kilometers from shore in a protected area. Having done their job, we're now in the second powered flight phase. The main engine
La trajectoire est
burning
normale.
We're coming up on separation of the fairing. Just before we do, take a look at the left hand side of your screen, the upper left, the cursor crawling up the line. That's actually 2 lines. One is superimposed on another, the optimum trajectory and the real-time trajectory, as long as they're one and the same, we're right where we should be. Below that, 2 lines, A and V. A is our altitude. You see we're climbing. V is our speed. We need between 8 and 9 kilometers per second to inject the satellites. So watch the numbers. The DDO has just said that the fairing has been jettisoned. That's coming right on time. Exposing Amazonas 3. Now you can see the black and blue box on the right. The fairing protects the payload from shocks during Ariane's ascent through the atmosphere. Once we leave the atmosphere at about 100 kilometers up, we don't need it anymore. And we can drop the weight, which is about 500 kilos. The core stage, basically a big propellant tank with the engine It uses cryogenic propellant. You've heard that word before. Cryogenics offer certain advantages over storable propellant, which is the other option, namely better performance. They can also be turned off and on, and its motors can be reignited and can function longer, and we can see that with the upper stage, which is reignitable on the Ariane, and with the fourth stage called the Frigate with the Soyuz. Ariane 1 to 4, previous models, owed their success mainly to storable propellant, not cryogenics. They're fuels that are kept in ambient temperature and don't evaporate like cold cryogenic does, and you saw that before liftoff with the constant topping up we needed. Storable propellant is also cheaper, but cryogenics offer better performance. You can see Amazonas exposed to the elements. Below that is a black bell-shaped structure. That's the Silda, the carrying structure, inside of which is our second passenger. Next up, the